Trading is not a place for those who want to win every day. It is a place that tests those who dared to do nothing while everyone else is panicking. I used to think I was losing because I lacked knowledge, until I met a man who placed only one trade a week and had never once let his account go negative. He didn't teach me how to make money faster. He taught me how not to be swallowed by the market. And if you're still here, perhaps you're looking for the same thing. He entered only one trade a week, yet his account had never gone negative, not even once. The hardest part to believe was that I saw it with my own eyes. I met him on a winter day so cold it numbed the skin. My account had just blown up for the 5th time in a row. I sold everything I owned, my laptop, my camera, even the phone I used to follow the news. In my pocket, I had exactly $75 left. I walked into an old cafe at the end of the street, a place older traders used to frequent. On the walls hung faded photos of red and green candlesticks, worn down by time. Near the window, an old man sat in silence. No one dared approach him. No one had ever seen him trade. But there was something strange. Every Wednesday morning, he sat in that exact spot with an old laptop and a cup of black coffee, no sugar. I don't know why I walked up to him. Maybe it was his eyes, sharp like a blade, yet strangely calm, as if he had already seen everything, including every time I had fallen. I spoke, my voice unable to hide the trembling. I've learned everything, Ichimoku, harmonics, smart money, order flow, but my account keeps blowing up. I don't understand why. He took a sip of his coffee and said slowly, "You don't need to know too much. You just need to win correctly, and win only once." Trading is not a game of frequency. It is patience taken to a ruthless extreme. I froze. My head was full of questions. One trade a week. No liquidity traps. No stop-loss hunts. No FOMO. He looked at me. His gaze slowed, deep and dark. "Do you know," he said, "when price moves against the news, that's often when the sharks begin to act. And do you know this? The market always leaves a small gap, just one gap in the entire week." I didn't understand. I truly didn't. But I knew one thing. What he said was unlike any course I had ever bought, unlike any video I had ever watched on YouTube. And from that moment, my trading path began to turn in a different direction. What he left me was not in technical indicators, not in Japanese candlestick patterns, not in signals from private Telegram groups. It was a higher strategy. Choose the one moment when the market reveals itself and take only one trade. Then sit still, like a predator hiding in the dark. I will tell it all, from beginning to end, everything my teacher left behind. These lessons are not for the impatient. This is not for those who hunt for opportunities every single day. It belongs only to those who are calm enough to wait for a moment that can change everything. One winning trade in a week, and never a loss. After that pivotal meeting, I returned to that cafe every Wednesday morning, not to trade, but to learn how to observe. He barely spoke. He just sat there, drinking black coffee with no sugar, his eyes resting on the cold gray sky behind the fogged glass. Whenever I asked something, his answers were brief. "Don't you see it? The market is revealing itself." At first, I thought he was just speaking loosely, but the longer I sat beside him, the more I realized something. He didn't look at the chart the way I did. He didn't count waves, didn't draw zones, didn't sketch patterns. He simply read reactions. When people shouted good news and rushed in to buy, he stayed still, quietly watching price refuse to rise. When the market panicked over a deep red candle, he observed whether the fear was real. And only when everything moved against familiar logic, he gave a slight nod, closed his laptop, and said, "It's done. This week's opportunity has just appeared." He traded as if he already knew the wind was about to change. No rushing, no panic, No need to win continuously, just one time, at the right moment, in the right state. Once I asked why he didn't take more trades. Was he afraid of risk? He smiled softly. To survive in trading isn't about finding a perfect entry. It's about waiting for the market to strip itself bare. I sat there, listening to every word, as if each sentence cut straight through the illusions clinging to me. Trading, in the end, is not a race to see who is better, but a journey to see who can hold themselves together the longest. Later, I learned that he had once taught applied mathematics and had left that profession long ago. No one ever saw him teaching online. No one saw him showing an account or standing on a stage. He lived quietly, discreetly, like a bird passing silently across the sky. He left behind only one thing for one person at the exact moment he chose. If you are hearing these words today, it is not by chance. It is because he wanted me to tell this story. For those who are calm enough, not yet swept away by the market's hurried breathing. For traders who dared to place patience on the table in exchange for a way out of a long spiral of losses. Before we move on, Quiet Trading would like to express its deepest and most sincere gratitude to everyone who has followed, listened, and walked alongside the channel. Stories like this cannot continue without one important person. You, the one quietly listening to every movement of the market with us. Thank you for believing in the journey of quiet trading. Thank you for staying. The first thing he taught me, and the most important, don't try to find an entry. Wait for the market to speak its true intention. I used to spend hours every day staring at charts from the Asian session to the US session, drawing zones, measuring Fibonacci levels, hunting tops and bottoms. I believed the harder I worked, the better I would become. The deeper I analyzed, the more money I would make. But he only said, "You're wrong." Trading is not the art of analysis, but the art of recognizing the moment when the market is lying. I still didn't understand. How do you know when the market is lying? He looked at me, his eyes cold like early morning frost. When extremely good news is released, but price does not rise. When extremely bad news appears, but price does not fall. When every indicator points in the same direction, yet price suddenly turns back. That is when the strong hands are preparing to do something the rest of the market cannot foresee. He called it a phase mismatch, a rare signal that the market is being guided. And in that moment, if you are calm enough, if you can wait long enough, you will see where the sharks have left their footprints. Not indicators, but price behavior moving against the crowd's expectations. I remember the first time he let me witness it with my own eyes. It was a Wednesday morning. The US released CPI data. The news was very bad for the dollar. Gold surged strongly for the first 30 seconds, then stopped. No continuation, no large volume, no follow-through. He simply said, if gold were truly strong, it would have flown much earlier. The fact that it's standing still means buyers are not truly committed. 5 minutes later, he entered a short position with his entire account. Exactly 30 minutes after that, gold collapsed like a broken dam. I couldn't even react. He showed no surprise. He took a sip of his coffee and said, "The crowd never wins, but sharks can't hide their intentions if we are patient enough to watch." I asked him, is there a formula to catch these phase mismatches? Is there an indicator that signals them in advance? He shook his head. No, and there never will be. Because what I'm talking about cannot be taught through technique. It can only be felt in silence. He didn't need signals, didn't need confirmation. One wrong reaction from the market was enough. I began to change. I stopped staring at charts all day, stopped entering trades just because I saw an opportunity. I simply sat and waited, waiting for moments when the market revealed itself. Like a wolf lying still, waiting for its prey to separate from the herd. Like an old hunter who never pulls the trigger on the first shot, only acting when he knows the prey is standing in the right place. Trading, the way he saw it, was not a profession, but an ancient art, where time stands on the side of those who can wait, and silence is the sharpest weapon. That is also why he placed only one trade per week, not because he lacked opportunities, but because he waited for a single moment when the market made a mistake. From that day on, I began to observe the market the way he showed me, no longer glued to patterns, no longer tense, waiting for signals. I waited for only one thing: a phase mismatch. Good news appears, price does not rise. Bad news is released, but price does not fall. Volume suddenly disappears where it should have exploded. And when that happens, he said, the market has just revealed its true face. You don't need to guess. You don't need to be a prophet. Just listen and be patient enough to wait. One wrong reaction from the market is enough. I asked him, but teacher, I still see people surviving from full-time trading. He smiled very softly and looked at me for a long time. His gaze seemed to pierce straight through the last layers of illusion still clinging to me. And then he said something that I still remember word for word. I have never seen anyone trade full-time and truly succeed. Those who make sustainable money from this market and from other financial markets all have at least one other occupation, a business of their own, an investment project that generates cash flow, or even a low-paid government job. That works too. The second thing, he said, is to never give all of your time to the market. I froze, because that went against everything I had ever heard. People always say that to succeed, you must give everything. Sit all day to study, to analyze, to trade. Quit your job, quit school, abandon everything else, and live or die with the charts. But he shook his head and said, "You don't understand. Because you place your entire livelihood on trading, you are afraid to lose. Because the market is the only thing you cling to, every losing trade feels like a knife driven straight inside. And once you are afraid to lose, you lose the ability to judge correctly." I asked him, "So you've never traded full-time?" He answered immediately, "I tried. 12 months. Nearly drove myself insane. In the morning, I opened the charts. Before even reading the news, my mind was already searching for patterns. But the account kept shrinking, not because my technique was poor, but because my psychology was worn down day by day. No one can endure the pressure when their entire source of living depends on a single chart." Then he looked straight at me and spoke slowly and clearly, like an order. "Trading is not a place to make a living. It is only a place to multiply money when you don't urgently need it. If you need money from it every day, it will kill you, day by day." Then he pointed toward the sky, where clouds drifted slowly past the window. "Do you see the clouds? They move, but they are never in a hurry. The market is the same. It always creates opportunities for those who know how to wait." From that day on, I started over. I went back to work, a small job, no pressure, not much money, but enough to live, without the market to feed me. And strangely enough, I traded better. No FOMO, no holding losers, no revenge trading. I chose. I chose to take only one trade per week when the market revealed itself. He once said, "A good trader is not someone who enters well, but someone who is calm enough to know when to do nothing." And that is what most traders never understand. After many months of observation, I gradually realized he didn't trade the news, didn't predict market direction, didn't front-run trends. He waited for only one thing: when the market reacted against logic. An abnormal reaction, yet disturbingly precise. Each week, he cared about only one day. Not Monday, because the market was still hesitant. Not Friday, because liquidity was already tired. He chose Wednesday, because that was when the most important data usually appeared: CPI, PPI, FOMC, or crude oil inventory reports. That is when large money usually begins to step in. But more importantly, it is when the crowd reacts most incorrectly. I asked, "Do you analyze the news in advance?" He answered, "No need. Analyzing the news is for those who want to understand the market. I don't need to understand it. I only need to see price react out of sync." What he did was simple, yet chillingly effective. There is one example I still remember clearly. That day, the US released CPI data showing a sharp decline, extremely bearish for the dollar. The entire market believed gold would surge, and as expected, the first candle jumped nearly 30 pips within about 15 minutes. Everyone thought a trend had formed. Telegram groups began calling for gold buys, but he remained still. He watched a little longer. Price stalled, volume began to fade, and instead of continuing upward, gold went sideways and quietly printed a red wick. He said softly, "No follow-through, no real buyers. The crowd has just been led." He entered a short position, with larger size than usual. No rushing, no tension, just a single mouse click, light as a breath. 3 hours later, gold collapsed. Price fell nearly 100 pips. Social media went silent. Then came the cries of blown accounts, and he simply closed his laptop, took a sip of coffee, and said, "One trade is enough. The rest is waiting." I asked him to explain more clearly. He wrote on a small piece of paper, just a few lines, no formulas, no terminology. "Choose a day with major news. Do not enter immediately when the news is released. Observe. If price reacts against expectations, it may be a trap. When price fails to continue in the direction of the news, enter in the opposite direction. Take profit when the crowd begins to panic. Never wait for a long trend." He called this strategy waiting for the market to exhale one last time. Because, he said, the market always tries to hide its true intention. It creates a false breath through news or a strong initial reaction. But if the observer is calm enough, there will be a moment when it can no longer hide. I asked him, "Do you use stop losses?" He nodded, but he didn't set them rigidly. He cut the trade if the next reaction no longer aligned with the original logic, not because price hit a certain number, because he believed the market doesn't know anyone's stop loss. It only tests psychological reactions. After a year, I did exactly what he left behind. Not many trades, just one trade per week. Only when the trap was clear. Only when the crowd was deceiving itself. My account was no longer negative. No more holding losers, no more panic. Only waiting and decisive action like a wolf. There was one thing he repeated often. Sharks never attack on the first move. They make noise in one place so they can strike somewhere else. And what I learned was not just a strategy, it was a way of seeing the market as a battlefield of noise, where the first reaction is always fire, and the survivor is the one who does nothing until the smoke settles. He divided the market into two layers. The first is the stage, where the crowd reacts on instinct. Green candles mean buy. Good news means long. A sudden drop means cutting losses in panic. The second is the real layer, where the strong leave their traces. They do not appear in indicators. They leave footprints in the absence of agreement. Like a price surge with no volume. Like a sharp drop that does not trigger a wave of panic selling. Like a reaction just clean enough for everyone to believe a trend has begun. Once I saw US GDP come out far better than expected. The USDX surged strongly. I was about to place a buy. He placed his hand on my shoulder. "Look closely at the M15 candles," he said. "Volume rises, price rises, but only for the first 3 candles. After that, price goes nowhere, even though the news is still fresh."
He said this was expectation anchoring through news. They push price up so enough liquidity was gathered to strike, and that's exactly what happened. 20 minutes later, USDX reversed and plunged straight down to the Asian session low. The entire market was wiped out. He shorted right at the top of the second reaction and exited cleanly when chaos began to spread. I asked, "Do you always take profits so early? Why not hold the trend longer?" He smiled and shook his head. "I don't chase trends. I take only the sweetest part of the fish, the head or the middle. I don't eat the bones." He never held trades overnight, never held with hope, never tried to squeeze out the last pip. He said, "The longer you stay in, the easier it is to fall into a pullback trap. I don't need big wins. I just need to not die. One correct strike is enough to feed the entire week. One trade per week, no reliance on setups, no need for patterns, just a different way of observing. Wait for fake news, watch how the crowd reacts, and then see whether price follows that reaction or not. If it doesn't, the sharks are preparing a hard turn, and that's when he enters. Not early, not late, exactly at the moment the market reacts incorrectly." Once I asked him, "What if there's no major news all week?" He answered lightly, "Then you don't trade. No bait, no hunt. Better to make no money than lose money trying to make some." The market does not expose itself every day. The winner is the one who waits for the right moment to act and accepts sitting still the rest of the time. I remember one week, no meaningful news, price moving sideways, meaningless fluctuations. I grew restless, wanted to take a few small trades. He bluntly said, "This is when the market tests your discipline. You think you trade because of a strategy, but in truth, you're addicted to action. If you can't endure 1 week without trading, you will never have the composure to place a single trade that can change the entire game." Trading with him was not about indicators, but about the mindset of an assassin. Wait, observe, separate real from fake, then strike. Precise and ruthless. Once he told me, "Everyone wants to win 1 trade per week, but placing only 1 trade per week, almost no one can do that." I didn't believe him. I thought, if I already know how to trade, why wait? Why not take a few small scalps for fun? Low volume, low risk, maybe grab a few dozen pips. He just looked at me and smiled, a smile with a hint of bitterness. That's how you kill your only winning trade. It's not the market that makes you lose, it's impatience slowly gnawing away at your account. At first, I couldn't endure it. 7 days a week, only 1 day allowed to trade. The other 6 days, I scrolled on my phone, read useless news. Then my hands began to itch. The market rose, my emotions stirred. The market fell, my heart wavered. Many times I tried small trades. The result was losses, then holding, then cutting, then regret. By the time the real signal appeared, my psychology was already tangled, my conviction shaken, and I missed the trade that could have saved the entire week. I went back and asked him, "What do you do on days you don't trade?" He replied, "I live." I froze.
Living. He nodded. Trading is only a very small part of a human life. The rest of it, I work, I read books, I tend plants, I sit with a cup of coffee and watch the sky drift by. I don't let the market take over my mind. He looked at me, not with blame, just firmness. If the market is all you think about, you will lose. Not because of technique, but because you have allowed it to swallow you whole. I asked, "Then how do you avoid being pulled in?" He said, "You have to create a space in your mind where the market cannot enter. That space is for family, for friends, for sports, for creation, for real life.
And when you return to the market, you will be cold as ice and sharp as a blade. I began to practice that. Turning off chat after the US session, no news after 10 at night, no computer on weekends, and most important of all, sitting still, not trading even when a setup looks perfect. Incredibly difficult, harder than any method I had ever learned, because it requires no skill, only character. He once said, "You are like a wolf, and you may strike only when the prey stands in the right place. If you rush too early, it will run. If you wait too long, it will disappear. But if you are patient enough, one kill is enough to survive the entire winter." Waiting is not passive. Waiting is applying pressure to the market. Waiting is forcing the other side to reveal its mistake, and when that mistake appears, one strike is enough. Trading, in his eyes, is not a game for the hyperactive, but a game for those who know how to endure. Not fast, not slow, just on time. Like a Japanese swordsman, not swinging the blade recklessly, but keeping it sheathed, waiting for the exact moment, drawing it out and ending it with a single cut. That afternoon, a light rain fell. Raindrops tapped steadily on the old tin roof of the familiar cafe. I arrived early. He arrived early too, but this time he brought an old notebook, its edges worn and frayed. He placed it on the table and slid it toward me. Then he looked straight into my eyes and said, "I don't have much time left to sit here anymore, and trading should never be the thing that holds a man in one place for his entire life." I stayed silent. Something inside me sank, not because I feared his leaving, but because I understood. Trading was never the destination, it was only a road, and every road eventually reaches a turn. He said, "You cannot live your whole life among candlesticks. Don't let making money become an excuse to miss everything else." He told me he once lost a woman because he stayed glued to a position for too long, skipped family meals because price was about to break out, missed a close friend's funeral because he was holding a large position, and when he finally looked back, he realized he still had money, but no one left to call family. He survived, but it was no longer truly living. He placed his hand on the notebook and spoke slowly. "What I leave you is not a secret to winning trades, but a way to survive without losing yourself." Inside the notebook, I saw only a few handwritten lines. 1. Only enter when the market reveals itself. 2. Win one trade, then rest for the entire week. 3. Never let the market occupy your whole mind. 4. You must have another job so you can live as a human being. 5. When your mind is unsettled, do not trade. When life is in chaos, do not open the chart. I felt a tightness in my throat because I understood this was no longer a trading philosophy. It was a philosophy of life, one that only those who have lost, who have been wrong, who have paid the price, can ever sit down and pass on to someone as naive as I once was. That meeting was our last. He didn't say goodbye. He only nodded, then walked away, his frame thin, but his steps still steady. No one knew where he went, and no one asked. But from that day on, I never forgot what he said. The market is a place that teaches humans about greed, fear, illusion, and arrogance. And if you can pass through all of that, you may learn something greater than money. Discipline, composure, and a kind of freedom with limits. Even now, I still trade only one position a week, but no longer out of a hunger to get rich fast. I do it because I understand that trading right, living right, and thinking right are worth more than any number in an account. If you've listened this far, I believe you didn't come to trading just to make money. You came to find a real way to live within chaos. And if something in this story touched you, leave a word of thanks, not for me, but for that teacher, a man who never stood before a crowd, never opened a class, never lectured, yet quietly left behind an essence for those who were fortunate enough to meet him. Quiet trading bows in gratitude. Thank you for walking with me through this journey. It may be only one trade a week, but it is a trade powerful enough to change how we live. Thank you, and may you stand firm, not only in trading, but in your own life as well.